very practical, illuminating observations that you have made. And yes, how to make AI easy and more accessible to the people is a challenge. And I'm sure with the likes of the leaders in the business joining hands to help the Northeast Indian states, we can make big strides in coming times. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some question and answer sessions, and this particular session will be chaired by Subimal Bhattacharjee. Over to Subimal.
Thank you, Bhaskarda, Chair Mr. Shingla for this afternoon. Mr. Anshuman De in absence, my good friends Vishal and Arvind, all of you here. The whole intent of this effort has been to see that how do you take Northeast to a different level? How do you start the thinking? How do you then take the steps to build up? I think one of the trigger to think in that direction has also come from a very revolutionary step. I think someone born in the Northeast, growing up, following very closely, following all the good and bad things and the difficulties, is when the thrust was made to get the Tata Technologies to look at getting a semiconductor packaging plant in Jagi Road, a little bit away from Guwahati. This is significant. This is a great inflection point that I think has given a chance for us to think. I always used to think long time back, and Mr. Shingla, while he's speaking, he had said that we should think of Northeast as a decade from now. And I was just thinking that Mr. Vishal Dupar, who's sitting next to me, has been one of the very inspirational leaders in the tech industry ecosystem in India. I've known him for almost 2 decades. He was the head of Symantec India before he became the head of NVIDIA India. So, sir, your statement that looking at a decade ahead, here is a great example. Here is a man who joined NVIDIA in 2010, when nobody knew NVIDIA, possibly in this country, except maybe those people who, children and all, who play games, and so they knew about processors. And he was the MD of Symantec in India, one of the biggest names on cybersecurity around. Now look at the story of NVIDIA today. It's the most valuable company in the world. Its people are doing great work. A great inspirational leader in Mr. Jensen Huang. Every time he speaks, you feel like stopping everything and seeing just to get motivated. So these 15 years that he has put with NVIDIA and grown NVIDIA in India, and now the way the India's story around the tech infrastructure is evolving and emanating, Northeast couldn't remain behind. Northeast also had to move along at the same pace. And possibly that Tata Technologies work, which right from the Honorable Prime Minister who has pushed this, I think has given us all of an opportunity. And as our chair, as well as Bhaskarda, who has been the main motivator behind getting us all to come together to start SHARE, I think we have a chance to play. We have a chance to get all these things in place to see that we can start implementing things the soonest. And around the same time, I think I can't remember, about a couple of weeks back, Mr. Anshuman, they told that now there is a steering committee on AI for Northeast, which he is chairing. I said it cannot be anything better. Arvind Bajaj, again, another very great mind in this industry. These are the people. Vishal still maintains a little bit of media presence. Arvind is almost shy. But these are treasure house of knowledge around this whole system and how it applies to the problems in this country. This is very, very important, because I think our success story, our attention, our importance in the global space to a large extent has been this. the software engineers in the IT industry in whichever shape, form, work, export, import, or whatever we did. About, I think, a month back in my, not the latest Indian Express, but the previous column, I had mentioned about that mango ecosystem in the country. You know, the Meta, Anthropic, NVIDIA, Google, and OpenAI. So why, in all of these companies, Indians have gone and done well, including our boys from the Northeast. But why we can't have that mango ecosystem come up in the country? So I think there is a lot of areas to think and decide a roadmap, and we have such a galaxy of individuals here who have, in the work as well as personal lives, taken their own steps to see that how do we build the Northeast as a destination for many things. Mr. Muktesh Chandar, former Special Commissioner, Delhi Police, DGP, Goa, and I think, sir, I can't remember, I think more for maybe 2 decades we have been in touch on cyber. We have seen the whole cyber story grow here. You have such amazing accomplishments. And now, of course, in this IT space. Mr. Jishnu Barua, currently heading the Central Regulatory Organization, but as Chief Secretary Assam and in previous roles, have taken many steps. Jishnuda, Bhaskarda were inspirations for us where we were in college because they cracked civil services with very good positions. Mr. Swang, I'm meeting after how many years, I don't know, but I never knew him, but I had once bumped into him in a departmental store in Hyderabad. I was so impressed, and I heard a man from our region, impressive in every manner, many years back, You are still that same handsome gentleman, sir. Kaushik, just back from his Chevening scholarship, I think a month or so, always keeping up the debate around the Northeast in a very, very strong manner, sometimes also in a provocative manner, which I like. My very good friend Utpal Borpujari, for so many decades, a filmmaker, but otherwise he's a, IIT Roorkee pass out, but, we have, in fact, a film on the Second World War in Northeast Memories of a Forgotten What I Produced. He did it. It's a 108-minute documentary traveling across the world. So we've been friends. Moshumi Chakraborty, former Director General, All India Radio, again brought vibrancy when she was in All India Radio, and a lot of Northeast programs also. She got AIR, and I must tell you, I go to a lot of television shows. I also go to Akashvani Spotlight and other things. I get a lot of response when I do that radio show from various parts of the country because people still listen to radio, which many of us think people don't listen. They're very useful, particularly people still preparing for the civil services or would have just made it. Many times in the airport, they come and even identify and talk to you and all, and I'm a nondescript man, but still they do that. So which means the power of those two mediums is there. Dipanjali Baido, who just became the president of the Assam Association here, again, very, very active, getting people along. Mr. Pradeep Gupta, Indian Ordnance and Factory Service Officer, retired as Additional Secretary Border Management, but was Mr. Pranab Mukherjee's, I would say, conscience keeper. Right from the day he was Defense Minister till the time he demitted office as President of India. I don't know how many, he used to look after a group of ministers, Prime Minister's office, cabinet. When Mr. Mukherjee introduced us to him, I never knew that a man with such busy roles was also intellectually a superb, stimulating gentleman, and most of our afternoons in IIC Tea Lounge are spent on talking about so many things. Of course, there are many secrets with him which will go to the grave with him, but the lot around the tech policy, this man has also worked from behind. A lot, which someday, my book of 3 decades on internet will get released next month. So many of the things will get covered in that. Dibbajyoti, again, has been a motivating factor for getting the wider Assamese community around the region involved. Uh, but I must specially mention about Mr. Amit Sharma, who flew in here. He's the IT secretary of Mizoram. And Mr. Shingla, while mentioning his speech, had mentioned about the kind of implementation around IT he has already started in Mizoram. And I can see that when Mr. De's slides were going on, I was just thinking that here is one man who has already started something. Even in earlier when he was posted in Ladakh, he has also done phenomenal work. Uh, of course, Vishal from Ethos, and I can't see Nitiraj here, but another man in NVIDIA who has been doing. Dinakar Peri, right now with the Carnegie Endowment office in Delhi. He's been with the Hindu for a long time, but now he is very much around the defense and tech ecosystem. Miss Anna Wagner, the economic counselor in the US Embassy. Again, many of our conversations are really good, and they also have an interest to see, that how the American Embassy also takes a lot of interest in the work around the Northeast. My vision beyond vision is not really much, but I just want to say that it's a open discussion, and just we have these two gentlemen here. Mr. Shingla is here, so please start your questions, just one at a time, and I would tell the panelists to maybe answer it in the most lucid and using their own experience together. So over, and the floor is open from. Who's going to be the first? Gupta ji. Sure.
Thank you for Subhival and inviting all of us, and thank you, the panelists, for this wonderful presentation. Especially Anshuman, who's not here, but he mentioned about a lot of things being initiated for Northeast. One thing, because I'm also part of AI startups, some of them, and we are working quite a lot. One project we started in the Northeast itself, in the Guwahati, some 8-9 months ago. And he mentioned about that soil thing. And we have made it taking picture of a soil, ground. And we have to do some mixing of the soil from 6 inches, 18 inches, and then it will predict the soil health. And also what is the acidity, and all these things will come, guiding the farmer or whoever wants the data from information from that app. And then various type of advisory we have generated. But the issue comes, we wanted to make it pan-India, because not only wide to Northeast, because there are soils every few hundred kilometers, the soil quality changes. There is no policy of data sharing in India, and that is stalling the startups. If I go to, I will not take a prominent institute, IARI or which Pusa Institute, they can very well direct the Krishi Vigyan Kendra to share the data with us. When I go to and dig a hole, some soil in somebody's farmland, we have deputed my startup people, 30 of them, and they were chased by the farmers. But if Krishi Vigyan Kendra comes up and they tells, I'm telling all because most of the government people are there. I have told top people in the government also, but nobody realizes. So if you don't have the policy of data sharing for such applications, nothing will happen. You keep on pumping money, and AI revolution can only happen with the startups. This can never happen with the big conglomerate. I think Vishal will accept, and Mr. Bajaj will tell. So let us forget. Startups you have to support this way. Second is the Northeast must have some free VC funding also for the startup. Long ago, we were part of the, my boss was part of the SEZ committee when it was conceptualized in 2006. And it was told in the group of ministers that we'll have SEZ in Balia also, or some remote area. 1 year we waited, no application came. Why? Because talent will not go there. Who will put in the application for SEZ in IT sector in God-forsaken place? So you must have ability to attract talent. Talent means basically the engineers or the technocrats or the motivated. In AI, one good thing is that uh, technical part is 50%, 50% the domain knowledge. So at least domain knowledge people will be available in Northeast. And I don't know whether you have mapped in Northeast, we have set up an Indian Statistical Institute Center in Tezpur. My boss went there and inaugurated, I was part of that inauguration ceremony. ISI is there, you have IIT Guwahati there. At least these institutions in the Northeast can be mapped up to generate their own talent. So data of the Northeast, the VC funding, the skill sets, these can be done. Good starting points to support.
Very nice points, Gupta ji. Do you want
And one more thing, Subhimal, I had been telling in all forums, India must start, for last 3-4 years I am telling, mission mathematics. Make mathematics very attractive, because until you have that thought process, lot of people are fan of mathematics, but then a lot of people don't like it. We have to encourage people to learn certain basic concepts of mathematics that will go long way in appreciating the AI concepts. And next stage is quantum. So I remember that long ago my family went to Australia. Then Chinese children, they were beaten by their parents just to learn mathematics. I'm talking about 20 years, 25 years ago. So we must start that thing. And there are certain things, especially in Northeast, we have very good that seamless integration, that hospitality thing. At least that can be leveraged. That is the core area. Thank you.
I think the first 3 points you made are really sticking to what we also as a share want to go around and cover those gaps and build. Should I take a few more questions and take the answers, or?
I think there are a few points which are very, very valid. The first point valid is that everything in India has to be at digital public scale. Obviously, we got a huge public, and people who will develop applications have to think about it at that scale. So I firmly believe that if we have the right infrastructure, it will be public scale. And that's why, to my point, that you'll be a recall in the world of intelligence, it will be because you will have public scale applications. What people see is what people perceive. If France and Milan are the capital of design and fashion, because people fashionably move there and they design well, same thing will happen for India. But we have to build up. Question is how. The how is through everything Northeast will do. We require AI factory infrastructure. Don't perceive it as something which is phenomenally expensive, because the word factory means you need land, power, you require a lot of equipment. It requires only rich people to do that. But then look at it this way, that if Government of India under the India AI mission is promoting subsidies to attract people, they're giving public-private partnerships. If Tata Technologies has come to Assam, if semiconductor has to be built there, if you were to speak to Mr. Chandrasekhar, he will never tell you that let's go and put a physical factory without an in silico factory. Because what you'll end up doing in silico will tell you how to do it in most optimized, efficient, and effective way. And Mr. Chandrasekhar has been spending lots of time with NVIDIA on this concept. You should encourage him, and I will talk to him too, to let's bring the first AI factory to Northeast. Let's not only bring AI factory to Northeast, because remember that the 5 million Indian developers, where do they reside? By default, they reside in Bangalore. By default, they reside in Hyderabad. By default, they reside somewhere in Gurgaon, and we can go forth, but they don't reside. But a lot of northeastern people come here. If you have the infrastructure there, if the opportunities of ideas can be mushroomed into reality, they will stay there, they will build applications, and for sure, this vicinity that you have with neighboring world, where, by the way, the stunts that is happening, 50% of global researchers reside in China. That's why you had the DeepSeek movement. The DeepSeek movement was about innovating in paucity. The ChatGPT movement was innovating in abundance. Northeast opportunity is in its opportunity to use cases. And we can do it. It just requires no more commenting, no more commentary, but just putting our hands together, taking a task and building it up. You got Guwahati, you got everything, IITs, everybody's there. But we need to bring the real application of that. So I concur with everything that you said.
If I can just add one more point. I've been talking to Mr. Anshuman Day as well, and one of the things that you mentioned is the VCs. So how can donor help in mobilizing local VCs? And to your point about bringing domain experts from the research institutions in the Northeast, so we have suggested a kind of a two-in-a-box strategy where we have a startup being mentored by one of the research institution mentors, so that they bring in the domain knowledge, because the young guys, they're energetic, they know everything, they'll want to push the technology front, but unfortunately they will miss out on the domain expertise. So how do you shadow them with a mentor from a research institution and bring a two-in-a-box approach? That's the discussion that we have been having with donor as well.
Dada, Chovimalda, I hope hosts can sneak in questions as well. Yeah, just clarifying. Yeah, yeah.
Thank Suvimal, uh, my good friend. Uh, I remember your book on critical information infrastructure, which I quoted in my PhD thesis also, and never knowing that at some point of time I would be heading the National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center in India. Thank you, Bhaskar and Jishnu, my batchmates, and also Swin. Uh, my question is, as a police officer, retired police officer, one of the problems being faced by entire Northeast is infiltration, and that has been the political plank also, even today. And some months back, I was in Meghalaya, and I could see that on one side of the river is India, and the other side is Bangladesh, with only a rope as a token boundary. And now this is a serious issue, and every time from even from Delhi, people are evicted. And I remember that from Delhi, we used to send them, and they would say, "We are going to LTC. We are going on LTC and paid by Government of India, and then we'll return on our own." So, can AI be useful? In what way it can be useful to solve this problem, which otherwise is a law and order issue or an insurgency issue or a political issue? But can we do something about it?
Yeah, one question and one comment. Comment is to Gupta sir. Uh, Totally agreed that data sharing is a major challenge. In fact, on those lines, we had a event with METI in Guwahati, I think 2 months back, where our governing body members played a key role. All the IT secretaries of all 8 states also participated, where a roadmap is being prepared, and there is a push from the ministry as well to create an environment of data sharing rather than data hoarding. So, I mean, you're right on the point, but there is also some thought, some progress, some push. Um, on the question part, I think everyone very correctly identified uh, the need to develop localized use cases. Uh, Absolutely, I mean, that's to the money. Um, my question would be the how. How do we do that? Any suggestions on that? I'm talking brass tags, I know, but I think we need the brass tags. Thank you.
Uh, you want to answer them or should I take some more? No, no. Okay. Michelle, you want to answer? Infiltration.
Yeah, those are fairly national challenges that we have. Obviously, at the end of the day, a technology can be people's friend, and it depends upon how we use it. One of the points which I tried to illustrate in my narrative was today the AI can learn any language. It can even learn the language of a steering wheel of a car. Because there's a representation that takes place. And that representation, when broken into numerical, allows you to translate that to any other modality. If the nation decides, if the people of the country, the people of the region decide how they want to deal with this, AI can absolutely come to your benefit. But what it can't solve for you if you don't have the data sets, like you rightfully said. And I think as you all continue to speak to METI, to other influencing body, I'm aware that they're already talking about opening many data sets. There are 3 data sets in particular which they're talking about. But the data sets which are geospatial, space, defense, when merged together, will come to the rescue of this larger problem. And it absolutely, from a technology perspective, many things can be done. Question is, do we have the infrastructure? Second question is, do we have the data to feed? And the third, do we have the willpower to build that up? And I think instead of looking around and saying who's going to do what, I would encourage this group to divide it into tasks, give a charter. After all, in the world of space, we demonstrated to everyone, if I also can land a spaceship on moon at the cost that is lesser than to run an auto, I know how to innovate. Nobody gave them projects saying that, hey, here is wealth and let's go and create it. They did it. We did it. We together did it in India. So I strongly believe that, yes, think tanks are important to give it a direction, but the real result is people who roll up their sleeves and get down to getting it done. So I think that's the way we should look at it.
Can I just add to what you said? You wanted a case study, a case where we can use it. See, the Northeast is home to a lot of communities, and most of the communities do not have a written script. And the literature is all oral literature. And with time, a lot of it is going to be lost. Now, where does AI come into the picture? Now, I'll tell you a real case study where I think we are not even using it. The AICTE, the All India the Council of Technical Education, I think it's called, they've developed an AI tool called the Anuvadini AI, I think it's called. okay, where on real-time basis, using something like ChatGPT, you can translate, into the other language. So like you have some sort of a novel, a novel in French or in English or something, and you want to translate it into English. So you just use ChatGPT, and then this Anuvadini translates it into Assamese. Now, I checked it up a few days back. Not a single language of the Northeast has been using this platform. There are languages like Hindi, Bengali, Sanskrit, Telugu, Tamil. None of the languages, at least it could have been used in Assamese, because we have a fairly, rich literature, but it's not being used. And I think this can be of practical use for a lot of our small communities, because of course there are challenges as well. I think Mr. Vishal will throw more light on that, because I think our data sets are small, because the communities are very small. And I think as your machine learning does it, the more data sets you have, I think it learns better, perhaps. I'm not a technical man. That's a challenge. And the other thing is the local nuances are important. So we'll have to involve anthropologists, maybe you'll have to involve local experts, because ChatGPT or something will just translate it literally. But somebody will have to examine and see whether this is the actual meaning, because that particular thing will have a different, meaning for that community. So maybe you'll have to involve a lot of people from the society. So it's not going to be just the machine doing the literal translation, but also maybe experts from different domains. So I think that could be a case study we could actually work on. I think that's just I wanted to add
So,
to that.
I think all of us have very compelling use cases, and all of us are signaling towards using it. Question is, why are we waiting? Why should we wait? Why is everybody got a wisdom that it should be done, but why aren't they getting onto the bandwagon? So your point is absolutely right. Firstly, there were two or three really intricate things. This is a closed room discussion. And because we are sitting on a national platform, with your due permission, if I was to spell out a couple of things. All models are Anglo-Saxon models. If you were even having data sets and you had given it to ChatGPT, it's like saying that there was oil in India, but the refinery was outside in America. And then you will import that refined oil for your usage at an extra money. Prime Minister, of course, puts it very different. And he says, गेहूं को मत बेचो, bread banao. The bread has to be made here in the country. So whenever we do these compelling things for the tribes, and you're 100% right, the nuance, the common sense, the fact that it is unwritten, the fact that that society thrives on it, we need to capture so that they can be longevity, or that has to be done here. ChatGPT is only going to make that model go outside, refine it, and give it to you. It'll never belong to you. And it'll do it on subject, word, and object, not on subject, object, word, verb, which is the built of our language. So how can the translation be precise? It'll become like my children speak Hindi. You half the time think whether they're from India or from some other part of the world. Right? So we got to really think from that angle. But everybody's telling us that there's a compelling reason. Geopolitical, language, multiple things. We got to start getting onto the bandwagon. We got to find reasons how we can translate this opportunity into reality, make small steps forward. We can start with tribals, we can start with soil, we can start with anything that you want. Those are only compelling events. When electricity was found, we didn't know air conditioning is going to work. We didn't know that highlights, lighting in this particular fashion is going to work. These are all applications that came in. AI, is what electricity was in 1790. We've got to start applying it, and probably it'll take lesser time than what electricity did for us. So I think that is my submission on this whole thing.
Sure. Arvind, you want to?
I just wanted to respond to Anbar on the use cases you mentioned, asked about how do we go about building the use cases. Again, you know, there is a traditional way of building use cases where you go take a stakeholder group and do some study and then go and build it. But there's a newer way, let's say, with the possibilities around AI, which is building the models. You build the models specific to a domain, let's say crops or water or anything like that, and then you give it to the people and let them find the ways of how to use it. Like Vishal is mentioning, once the electricity is there, they can find their own uses. Build a model, let them use. They will find their own use case.
So SLM.
Any form, LLM, SLM, VLM, I don't care, but there has to be some kind of a model.
Don't get confused by this LLM.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Right? It's like when you and I were there, our parents bought us encyclopedias. And every time we got a project in school, and they said, oh, the UK warship is going to Falkland, can we do a project? You opened an encyclopedia, you copied it, you wrote it, and you did it. But that thing was printed on that particular day. It didn't tell you that Queen Elizabeth has asked them to find a spot there. And those who found that spot, they got better marks than people who copied it.
So just go on building the model, give it to the people, let them use it. They will find their own use case. Okay.
I thought partially, Dada, to your question, our chair for today, I think as chair of India's G20, I think you implemented something very successful around the translation thing with so many heads of state or government and their spouses and all, and it worked fantastically. It's not known much, I think, in the public domain, but might like to share something.
Thank you. Actually, I was thinking about that when the question was asked. Essentially, you know, PM had this view that so many people are going to come to India from different countries representing different cultures and basically different languages. How can we provide technology that can enable them to communicate? And we were given the task, but the time was short. And we had in-house expertise. I mean, we had Tata, computers with us and others who were, TCS and others who were with us. But I think they were struggling a bit, to be honest. Anyway, we found a solution and we got this app going, which was given to all those who were delegates at G20. And this app essentially, was that you speak, and it was AI based because you speak into it in, say, Hindi, and the other person can listen in, say, Russian or in, Portuguese or whatever language he wants. And then he speaks in his language and it comes out in the language that you want. Essentially, again, we were worried because this is, it has to evolve and the system has to constantly be used to reach a level of perfection, and we didn't have the time. This was just a few days before G20. But after the G20, when the PM took a session to review G20, and he called everybody, right from the, sort of junior most to the senior most, and there was this lady constable, and some of us can identify with that part of it. She was a security personnel attached to the First Lady of Turkey, the wife of the Turkish president. And she said, ये हमारे जो टर्की के प्रेसिडेंट की पत्नी थी, उनके साथ हम कम्युनिकेट तो नहीं कर पाए, पर एक चीज़ था जो ऐप आपने दिया, उसमें हमने हिंदी में बोला और वो टर्किश में उनको सुनाई दिया, और उन्होंने जब टर्किश में बोला तो हमें हिंदी में सुनाई दिया. So I think that proved the efficacy of that app, that this worked. And I would say it was used in limited ways. I don't think everybody, because most of these chefs could speak various languages, but wherever it was applied, and I suspect the PM also used it because he wanted to test this. So he's sitting with someone, Putin or someone, Putin didn't come. But say he's sitting with Lula from Brazil and he wants to communicate with him in Hindi and the chap is listening in Portuguese. So that sort of thing would have been done. But of course, that is again an example of AI-based interpretation, as you say, Anuvadini is something that we are using. But before you came in, I think we spoke a little bit about using AI also to preserve languages. Languages that are are sort of today being forgotten. They are verbal languages. You said some of them don't have a script. So how do you preserve those languages? How can AI be used to preserve those languages? I think that is something that is an interesting concept that we can develop on.
Thank you. Mr. Amit Sharma, I would love you to say something because you are implementing some few good things on the ground, and there's a lot to build up, and we'll know a lot about Mizoram, but a lot of people don't know a lot about Mizoram. Of course, it's the most literate state in the country, but there's so much around culture and all to also. So, some things from you, sir.
Thank you, first of all, Suvimal, and the whole gamut and galaxy of thinkers and officers and all people who are interested in implementing artificial intelligence models all across. Yes, it's a good platform to share what's happening, and I can say that whatever has been discussed, I have tried to learn a lot of things today in today's conference, like what's happening. Especially, it's focused on our northeastern region with the experts, domain experts, the contributors who have contributed over decades in that area. So it really makes a difference. Like we have been in the conferences and the meetings where actually we are discussing, but we are strategizing, we are making policies, we are implementing, but getting the thoughts from the industry, from experts, and from those who mattered a lot and who still matter a lot and will keep contributing, I'm sure. So makes a big difference. Yes, so far as the streak of reforms are concerned, I'll try to be very brief because I know it's been overstretched, and I just pitched in between. It's not part of the routine thing. So I'll try to share what actually I have experienced. Like coincidentally, I have been handling all the Himalayan states, like starting from Jammu and Kashmir to Ladakh, and now this is the third consecutive state handling ICT operations as Secretary ICT. And every state had its own kind of domain challenges and different kind of with the different kind of topographies, geographies, demographies. And Northeast, I found once I came here, completely different ball game. Like one thing was very common, like all my previous two experiences, two different states, now UTs, had two borders, two country borders. Here also similar situation, Bangladesh and Myanmar. There we had China, but there it was LOC and LAC. Here it is defined. That's the only difference. But the challenges remain the same. More or less, connectivity issues are there. Similarly, when I came here last year, it was altogether just entering into a new place, new domain. Especially NER has always been an area of focus, and Government of India and people from all across the globe, as we just heard, everybody is focused at what's happening, even right from US. Global superpowers are also very much focused, and there are many reasons to be actually. So here we focused like we did very simple things, nothing more complicated and all. But those simple things, I also believe that have a ramifying effect in times to come, because if you don't set the basics right, especially in the era of ICT and with the kind of experience I had handling these operations in two previous areas, they were strategically equally important. You all know that what JK holds for us and what Ladakh has. So here also, like the challenges were similar kind, but then connectivity was not up to the mark. So my focus right from landing there was to have a very good connectivity. So handling communications and telecom, we just pushed all the telcos and ISP operators to actually push with the projects like 4G saturation and because nobody wants to go beyond commercial interests. that is a different kind of challenge. So we just push them towards going towards the last villages which are touching down their Bangladesh border, somewhere towards Myanmar border. And you all know, we all have experts, they know how the topography is, the big rivers flowing in between. It's not so easy to raise the towers or the broadband connectivity and all. But still we try to push best possible, and now we are seeing some results, and especially Meso fiber grid network, we are working on it. The ministry, JSR was also here, so I think the ministry is supporting. So first trench has come, so we'll be very soon starting the project of Meso fiber grid. I think Railtel has just got through amongst the process. And similarly, apart from this, like we were working in a very, very traditional way of conducting business, even in the Mizoram Secretariat. So we had to push them towards the e-office era. So this was something I also believe is very satisfying. The ones who were opposing me initially are now coming and expressing gratitude. Like sitting here, I could also dispose all my official business today. So there was a concept of link secretaries and all those things there. So my first question to everyone was that how a link secretary can dispose business. Say animal husbandry secretary can't do the work what ICT secretary has to do, or what excise handling secretary, revenue secretary has to do, and finance. So anyways, those things are sorted out. I am very happy to share that now we are totally on e-office. First phase is done. Next phase we have already written to MIT. We may take it to down below the offices in the field, like HODs, deputy commissioners, all 11 districts we have created now there. And we are also trying to push through with different kind of things. We're just talking about the language model. So I'm happy again to share that recently we inked Bhashini, this thing with Meti, and Mizoram has come into the fold. And we believe language is a big barrier. It's a big connector as well as, keeps you away also. So I think with the implementation of Bhashini, we'll be having a workshop this month probably with the CM sir and everybody sitting along, and everybody would participate to make people understand the relevance of how important the language is. The disconnect between Northeast and the rest of the country, I believe language has to become a big binding force. And we all pushing it hard. General VK Singh, His Excellency, is now the governor of Mizoram. So sir is also supporting all our different initiatives. So apart from that, in artificial intelligence, I think we are trying to push hard. And Microsoft, I read somebody from Microsoft, I think if they are there, they could not, yeah. So Microsoft is going to offer, again next week, I think we'll ink an MOU with them under CSR, in which they will offer AI certified courses to all the employees and among us the student fraternity out there. So this is a big inroad towards what we are planning for our Mizoram. And I'm happy also to share, like, we brought it on the map of IT and ICT and AI enablement. Like last month, it was in May precisely, last to last month, we held a big digital transformational conclave, in which a lot of ministries of Government of India participated. Almost 2-3 secretaries were about to come. But to that unfortunate thing happened, Pahalgam, so they had to give up at the last, where even the tickets were done, because PMO was holding constant meeting with all secretaries. So ASS has come, few additional secretaries, Government of India made it, and very important DRPG came, Ministry of External Affairs came, many important departments, and 20 states participated, coming all the way to Mizoram. So this was first of its kind and led by Chief Secretary, CM sir was himself there, Chief Secretary, DG Police, everybody. So I mean to say we are trying to make Mizoram vibrant and ready for all the things to happen, especially we know. And the moment I took over, I had a meeting with Invest India in Delhi only, and I offered them the wonderful thing we were talking. We, sorry to say, but we don't go beyond Guwahati. So I thought, let's take things beyond Guwahati, take it to Aizawl, and Aizawl I offered for GCC, what we are talking about, because we are strategically pitched 2 countries to serve also. So it can be an end-to-end kind of concept in which we can create a GCC model there. and end-to-end solution. And Invest India also committed to support, and I believe this forum can also come to our support and our cause, because we can serve those two countries where it is not directly possible to have those BPOs and call centers, so we can support them sitting here. And we can create a model in which I strongly believe in the theory of reversal of brain drain. We can have all our sharp minds coming back. We can have the potential of Mizoram realized, because that's what we were talking in the morning also. All the sharp minds move out, whether in services or in corporate, or they don't find opportunities. So only we have to create opportunities. Nobody from outside has to come. So these are the few thoughts I think I wanted to share, and a lot of other things parallelly we are going on in terms of implementation of technology. We are no less than any other state in the country so far as implementation of technological reforms are concerned, and we are very open to all kinds of ideas, industry investments, and we are supporting it. Our Honorable ICT Minister, our Honorable CM, Chief Secretary, sir, everybody is we are on the same page. What I am speaking, I can assure you, like, we are there to implement a lot of things. Even in tourism, the other day I was talking to our Honorable Minister. We want to, because I think we are not, till now, we have not packaged our tourism well. So for the wrong reason, sometimes tourism gets a push. The other day I was sitting with one of the ministers of Meghalaya. It was in Bharat Mandapam. There was some meeting on cooperation. I happened to be Secretary Cooperation also, along with ICT in Mizoram. So led by Union Cooperation and Home Minister. So he was sitting beside me. He said, my state is getting a big tourism boost. But because of the wrong reasons, like, people are very curious to come and see the recent unfortunate that couple thing happened. So I don't want to project our state like that, but on a positive side, we have to package ourselves very well. We have to do a lot of road shows and all. So I think our state holds immense potential in terms of whatever we can offer. We have all those opportunities, along with the backing of artificial intelligence technology and everything there. And I am very much available to everybody, like, who wants to come to us, and I would rather welcome the thoughts and the associations with all kinds of industry who wants to come here and contribute towards implementation of artificial intelligence models, which is the need of the hour. We have realized recently we got declared as the first literate state of the country also. So we must think, like, Mizoram is coming up big way, and I think with everybody in the this August hall sitting and sharing their thoughts, please keep backing us up and making us one of the most vibrant states, if not of whole of India, but of NER. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.